Betty has a sister, Amy. Gail is Betty's mother. Meanwhile, Dan is Gail's father and Samantha is Dan's mother. Can you figure out how Amy is related to Dan? Here's why. Amy is Betty's sister, and Betty is the daughter of Gail. Therefore, Amy is another daughter of Gail. We also know that Dan is Gail's father. Therefore, Dan is Amy's grandfather. Betty is going on a date, and she's a little late. Her boyfriend, Stan, is already waiting for her inside their favorite coffee shop. Can you find him? It's this guy on the right. He has a small gift box on the table. After the date, Betty takes a car sharing to go home. The car is parked at this point. Can you figure out the only point Betty can reach? If Betty takes this weird route, she can only reach point 3. One of the most popular mailing websites is facing a system error. That's why the passwords of some clients are changed. Betty writes a message to the company's representative. My password is altered. I'm not able to log in. The company replies, this time your password is distinct and it has 8 letters, out of which 2 are the same as in your previous password. Betty replies, thanks, now I can log in. Can you figure out Betty's old and new passwords? Her new password is distinct, and the old one is altered. Betty arrives at her favorite swimming pool and spots something really weird. Can you see it too? Someone swapped these guys' shadows. After swimming training, Betty goes to the public shower. There are other people in shower cubicles nearby. Can you spot who's unwanted here? This person on the left should probably use the men's bathroom. He has only one shampoo bottle, while ladies usually bring a bunch of skincare products. Betty meets her best friend Rob. He always tells the truth. Rob says, I have one specific whole number on my mind. It's 1, 2, or 3. You can ask me just one question, but I can only reply yes or no, or I don't know. What question will you ask to figure out the number I'm thinking about? Can you help Betty? She should say, I have one whole number on my mind. It's between 2 and 3. Is the number I'm thinking of smaller or equal to your number? This way, if Rob replies no, then the number is 1. If he replies yes, the number is 3. And if he replies I don't know, the number is 2. Betty got a job as a cashier at a movie theater. A group of her first customers approached the ticket kiosk. 4 mothers, 2 grandmothers, and 4 daughters. What's the minimum number of tickets they need to buy? Only 6. Betty has 3 keys that open 3 different doors. How many attempts does she need to figure out the key for each door? Betty will need 6 attempts. First, she has to check the first key and spend 3 attempts for 3 doors. Then, check the second key, 2 attempts for the remaining 2 doors. And then, use the third key to open the last door. Betty enters the cafeteria and spots a thief right away. Can you see this person too? This elegant lady in the chair has a plastic detector attached to the stolen clothes. Someone robbed the movie theater. Betty calls the police and they arrest 3 suspects. Officers check the guys' passports. Can you spot a fake ID? Most passport pictures have a white background, so the one in the middle is fake. Late at night, Betty is walking home in a snowstorm. She meets her neighbor walking a dog in the street and freaks out. Can you guess why? The dog leaves footprints from only 2 paws. Betty continues her walk and sees another odd thing. Can you spot it too? It should be the moon, not Saturn. Betty enters her apartment building and meets 3 neighbors in the elevator. One of them is a werewolf. Can you guess who? This lady on the left. She's wearing a moon necklace. Betty goes to sleep and wakes up in an arena. The speakers announce that she must fight with one of these 3 hybrid creatures. Which one should she choose to stay alive? A polar bear with a head of a tiger, an elephant with a wolf head, or a hybrid with a face and body of a huge squid and the legs of a human? Betty should choose the 3rd hybrid. Since its body has gills, it won't be able to breathe and fight outside water. After the fight, Betty gets an invitation to meet the major investor of this competition, King Harold. She enters a big, beautiful hall and sees 6 people sitting in front of her. They're wearing the same outfit and look very similar. It's very hard to tell who's the real king here. But after a couple of minutes, Betty approaches one of them, bows, and says, "Nice to meet you, Your Majesty." How did she know who's the real king? All the other guys were looking at the king very attentively to imitate his manners and actions. Meanwhile, the real King Harold was sitting calmly. Betty returns home and faces bad news. Her cat Fluffy is missing. Betty questions her neighbors. Lily says, "Sorry, I didn't see any cats. I'm working from home. I spent all day working on my new book." Vanessa said, "I haven't seen Fluffy today, and it's cool because I have a terrible allergy to cats." And Bob said, "I think I heard a cat meowing on the balcony a couple of hours ago." Can you guess who stole the cat? Nobody. Fluffy's been hiding under Betty's couch all this time. Betty's boyfriend Stan lives just a couple of blocks away from her place. Betty calls him on FaceTime and invites him over. But Stan says, "Sorry, honey, I've just got home feeling very sick. I'd rather go to bed early." Betty yelled, "Liar!" and hung up. Why? Take a look at Betty's window. It's pretty dark. Stan lives only 2 blocks away, but there's a bright blue sky in his background, which means he's definitely not at home. Betty makes a beautiful sandcastle and then lies down. She falls asleep. In a while, Betty wakes up and sees that someone has ruined her castle. She asks 3 persons hanging out nearby, "Who did it?" Kelly replies, "I like your castle and took a couple of pictures for my social. Then I left to get some ice cream. When I came back, I saw the castle was completely ruined." Olivia said, "I'm sorry, I was swimming far from the shore. When I returned to the shore, I didn't notice any castles." And Tom said, "Sorry, lady, I don't see anything because I'm blind. The wind must have destroyed your castle. You shouldn't have to make it 5 stories high." Can you spot a liar? Tom is lying. He said he was blind. How did he learn the castle architecture in detail? Betty is using an app to find accommodation for her vacation. She likes 3 offers. Rose invites her to stay in a cozy bedroom on the 4th floor of her luxurious villa for the price of $50 per night. Jane is ready to host one person in a tiny guest house in her backyard for $30. And Tyler offers to rent his boat for $200 per night. Fishing equipment is included. Only one of these advertisements isn't fake. Can you guess which one? This villa is 3 stories, and Tyler's picture is hanging on the pier. He's a runaway thief. So, Jane's guest house is the safest option for Betty.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.
Brandon is the brightest student in his college. The next evening after graduation, he received this mysterious letter. The note said, "We have a job for you." He turned the note around and saw this message. Brandon cracked this encoded puzzle right away. What about you? Brandon's job interview will take place in a greenhouse at midnight. Brandon arrived at the meeting point. He looked around and saw a gardener lying unconscious on the floor. Brandon called the police. Experts said that someone had poisoned the gardener. Brandon called 3 people and questioned what they were doing today. Allie, the gardener's assistant, said, "Today was my day off. I've spent all my time at a pool party with my friends." The gardener's wife, Lily, said, "Oh my, I can't visit him immediately. I'm on a business trip in Rome." And the gardener's boss, Dan, said, "I had lunch with him today, and he looked perfectly fine." Brandon spotted who was lying right away. What about you? Lily is lying. Take a look at her hotel window. Can you see the Eiffel Tower? She's not in Rome, but in Paris. After solving this case, Brandon received a message. "Congratulations, you've passed the first stage. See you in the basement." Brandon went downstairs and faced this combination lock. Now he needs to open the door to move on to the next level of his job interview. Can you help him crack the code?
All right.
Take a look at the note near the door. It's a hint. The correct password is opinion. Brandon entered a huge office and saw this guy. He said, "Nice to meet you, Brandon. I'm Mr. Green. My wife and I have 6 sons. Each son has 1 sister. Can you count all members of my family?" Brandon nailed it right away. What about you? Nine. Mr. Green, Mrs. Green, 6 sons and 1 daughter. The daughter is a sister to all 6 sons. Brandon's next task is to solve a robbery case. Last night, someone smashed a window in the local bank office to break in.
Oh, gee.
The cleaner was inside, so he ran to call for help. He saw that the robbers had taken the money and busted the door open to escape when he got back. He tried to clean the mess, and some glass fragments got stuck in his sleeves. Brandon looked over the crime scene. He knew for sure that the cleaner was lying. But what exactly gave him away? The window glass? The door? Or the cleaner's appearance? The door frame was broken outwards, indicating that whoever was inside broke out, which fits the story. The glass can shatter in all directions. Still, not enough evidence to prove that the cleaner's lying, but his arms are covered in glass. He did say that he was cleaning up, but those tiny shards indicate he was standing very close to the window when it was broken. And, probably, he was the one who had smashed it.
Busted.
After solving this case, Brandon received the next task, to make this equation correct by moving just 1 matchstick. Do you have any ideas? In fact, there are 3 possible answers.
Okay, let's see.
8 minus 4 equals 4. 5 plus 4 equals 9. And 0 plus 4 equals 4. Mr. Green offered Brandon to look through some crime scene photos. Brandon asked him, "In which one of these buildings is the new crime scene?" Mr. Green said, "The closest one."
All right.
Can you help him spot which of these buildings is closer? This building has blocked out the pattern of railings on the right-hand building. Therefore, it's closer. And if you look very attentively, you can also see the satellite dish obscuring the other building. To accomplish the next task, Brandon needs a laptop. Can you help him enter the correct password? Here's a clue. It's a 5-letter word that includes 2 different vowels and 3 similar consonants. It's so strong that it can spoil your entire work. Can you guess the word? It's an error. Brandon saw this picture on the screen. His task is to spot which direction the car is moving, left or right. Can you help him? Neither right nor left. The car isn't moving because it doesn't have any wheels. Here's the next task for Brandon. Mr. Green bought a phone for $100. Then he sold it to Sam for $125. After a year, he bought it back from Sam for $150. After using it for a month, he sold it back to Sam for $175. Can you calculate if this entire deal was profitable for Mr. Green? In the first deal, Mr. Green made a profit of $25 from Sam. Mr. Green got a $25 profit again from Zach in the second deal. Therefore, the entire deal was profitable for Mr. Green, and he made a total profit of $50. Brandon woke up in a forest. He wandered around for a while and met these 3 ladies. They all claimed that they had gotten lost in the woods 2 months ago. Can you spot any liars among them? The easiest way to solve this task is to look at their hair. The first lady has long blonde hair with brown roots, which means that she hasn't been to the hairdresser for a while. The third lady has naturally black hair, which has probably been growing out the same way. But the second lady has a fresh haircut and green-colored roots, which means she has recently visited a hairdresser. Therefore, she's probably a criminal trying to blend in with the others to hide from justice. After a short walk, Brandon found a huge villa in the forest. The owner of this villa was just found unconscious. Brandon has to examine the crime scene and determine the possible suspects.
Ooh.
3 housekeepers, Mary, Wendy, and Jane, were the only people who were around at the time when the owner felt sick.
What?
Strangely, they all had red stains on their hands. Mary said, "These stains on my outfit are just red paint. I was painting the benches in the garden." Wendy said, "My stains are from the nail polish." And Jane said that she had spilled grape juice on her uniform. Can you spot any liars? Take a closer look at the grape juice Jane is holding. As you can see from the label, it's a white grape juice. That drink wouldn't leave a red stain. Also, all benches in the garden are blue, which means Mary had lied. After lunch, Brandon fell asleep. He woke up and found himself in jail. He began to look for a way out and found 3 doors. The first exit is guarded by angry dogs. They haven't eaten for 9 months, so they're very hungry. The second exit is guarded by a family of dragons. And finally, a group of guards is waiting behind the third door. No prisoner can escape from them. Which exit should Brandon choose? He should choose the first way. If the dogs haven't eaten for 9 months, they're probably too weak to stop Brandon from escaping. Brandon and Mr. Green entered an elevator to get to the final step of the interview. Brandon spotted 3 odd things about this elevator right away. What about you? The 8th floor is missing. The mirror reflects Brandon, but it doesn't remember Mr. Green. The sign says that this elevator's weight limit is 0 pounds. Mr. Green took Brandon to his office and showed him his jewelry collection. Mr. Green said, "I have one final puzzle for you. If you solve it, you're hired. When I was your age, I collected white gems in the mountains and brought them home every evening. When I've accumulated enough gems, I decided to sell them." The local jeweler said, "I'm ready to buy your gems. How many stones do you have?" So I began to calculate. I bought a huge box that contained 3 mini boxes, and 2 of them had another mini box inside. So if the huge box can hold 50 gems, how many blue gems did I sell to the jeweler? Brandon nailed it and got the job. What was his reply? Mr. Green was collecting white gems, so he couldn't sell any blue gems to the jeweler.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side. Can you spot something odd in this image? Yep, this little guy is just a wannabe. Will you be able to find the fork that's different from the rest? Here it is. Its tines are way shorter than those of its fellow forks. How long will it take you to find the glove that doesn't have a pair? But of course, here it is. Wow, that was fast. Now let's make it trickier. Which snowflake is lonely? Exactly, this pretty one in the center. Try to spot the rubber boot that doesn't have a pair. Here it is. You must have an eagle eye. Is there an imposter among all these X's? Yup, it's the letter Y. Have you just pressed the hard mode button? Okay, which lion is different from the rest? Right, this king of the jungle is missing one ear. Can you spot a sunflower among all these buzzing bees? Ah, here it is, hiding in the corner. Which avocado is different from the rest? This one. Look at its stone. It must be in love. What's your bet? Is it ava or cado? And now the real game starts. You see most of these logos every day, but how well do you really know them? Do you recognize the logo of the world-famous producer of electronics? The left one looks much more natural, and no wonder, it's the correct logo. How often do you order stuff from Amazon? Let's see. If you pick the right logo, it must be often enough. What a tricky task! These logos look almost the same. And still, the correct one is the Netflix logo on the right. Think hard and tell me, where could you get a yummy sandwich? The correct logo is the one on the right. If you see the other one, you should probably refrain from entering that subway. Now, which is the correct YouTube logo? No cheating! The left one, of course. Which card do you use to pay at your local supermarket? The one on the right, of course. I'm sure this logo is familiar not only to avid coffee fans. The left one is the real Starbucks logo. Who hasn't seen a room of their dreams in IKEA at least once in their life? But which is the correct IKEA logo? It's the right one. Now tell me, how many hours do you spend watching TikTok videos? If you answered that the real TikTok logo is the one on the right, you probably open the TikTok app at least once a day. One of the best snacks out there, but which Pringles logo is the one you see on the box? The mustache guy doesn't have that much hair. The logo on the left is correct. Level up! Which of these guys do you see when you buy your Pringles? Absolutely, it's the one on the left. Let's see if you tend to take pics of literally everything around you to post them on this social media app. The real Instagram logo is the right one. Heh, you must be a real Insta person if you got that right. I'm sure you'll recognize the Pizza Hut logo in no time. Yes, you pizza lover. And of course, it's the one on the left. Okay, we've determined that you're a real fan of pizza, but how about sports? The correct Adidas logo is on the left. And how extreme is your sweet tooth? Will you recognize the real Chupa Chups logo? I knew it was the one on the right. Which of these is the real IBM logo? That was a tricky question. I chose the logo on the right, and it was the right choice. How about this seemingly endless source of knowledge and wisdom? What's the real Wikipedia logo? Yup, it's the one on the left. If you watch MTV often enough, it won't take you long to find its real logo. Yup, it's the right one. How about these logos? Tricky, huh? The real Costa Coffee logo is the one on the right. Now, this question is the trickiest of them all. Which is the correct Brightside logo? Huh? I hope you watch our channel often enough to have picked the light bulb on the right. And, always stay on the bright side of life. And level up. Look at the pictures attentively and try to figure out what's wrong with them. Can you find out what's wrong in this picture? It's not about the numbers. It's the word mistake that's written incorrectly. Can you spot something really strange in this image? It's a barn. Why would it need a chimney? Examine all the details in this picture and figure out what's wrong with it. Oh, I see. The car doesn't have any license plate. Something is off in this picture, but what exactly? This one seems tough. April 31st? Such a date doesn't exist. How fast can you figure out what's wrong with this picture? The guy must have been dressing in a hurry. He's wearing one regular skate and one roller skate. Which picture is the odd one here? The one with a cat. All other items begin with the letter B, except the kitty. I gotta warn you, be very, very attentive now. Can you find the mistake? Look at this symbol. It's not a 0, it's an O. Oh. If you cracked even 70% of these attention riddles, you're a very, very attentive individual. Now, what was that number again?
I have a math workout for you today, but first, let's have a little warm-up. How many ducks do you see in this picture? Don't forget about the hidden ones. There are 15 ducks. Did you find them all? Okay, now count all the flowers. Right, there are 17 of them. Can you spot 3 differences between these photos? Here they are. And another one. There are 3 differences again. Do you see them? Okay, here they are. Good job. Okay, now a bit of math for you. Look at this picture. The only number multiplied by itself that gives 25 is 5, so this shape equals 5. This way, the other shape from the second equation is 4. 4 and 6 make 10, so the red circle equals 6. Then, 5 multiplied by 6 gives us 30. This one is similar, but a bit harder, so be very attentive. Okay, 3 pairs of sneakers make 30. Then 1 pair equals 10. then one cat with a whistle must be 5. In this case, 2 whistles equal 4, so 1 whistle is 2. Now the last one. A pair of sneakers is 10. We know that a cat with a whistle is 5, but this kitty doesn't have a whistle. But since a whistle is 2, the cat without a whistle must be 3. And a whistle equals 2. So, it's 10 plus 3 multiplied by 2, which is 16. Ava and Dakota are sisters. When Dakota was 18, Ava was half her age. Now that Dakota is 26, how old is Ava? When Dakota was 18, Ava was 9, so the age difference between the sisters is 9 years. If Dakota is 26 now, then Ava is 17. When Polaris was 16 years old, her mother was 39. If Polaris's mom is twice her daughter's age, how old is Polaris? The age difference between Polaris and her mother is 23 years. That means now, Polaris is 23 and her mom is 46. Yvonne had a big collection of CDs. One day, she decided to clean up her house and counted that she had 172 CDs. She sold them all except for 7 CDs of her favorite singer and 5 CDs of her favorite band. How many CDs does Yvonne have now? Well, if she gave up all but 7 plus 5, it leaves her with 12 CDs. In PE class, all students were standing in a circle. If the 5th student was exactly opposite the 12th student, how many students were in the circle? Between student number 5 and student number 12, there are 6 other students. If these two are opposite each other, then on the other side between them, there are also 6 students. This makes 14 students in the circle. Danica owns a candy store. She sells candy for $0.12 a dozen. How many candy pieces can you get if you have $1? $0.12 for a dozen mean that one candy costs 1 cent. So if you have $1, you can get 100 candies. For casting a spell, Flora should put these stones in the correct order. She has 4 of them: purple, green, red, and blue. The instruction says, 1. The red one only has 1 stone next to it. 2. The green and purple stones aren't next to each other. 3. The green stone is the last one. Can you help Flora? If the red stone only has 1 other stone next to it, then it's either the first one or the last one. But since green is the last one, then red is the first one. If the green and purple stones aren't next to each other, then there's the blue stone between them. So, the correct order is red, purple, blue, and green. It was midday. Kaylin was exploring a big local forest. She found an abandoned mansion and entered it. The door closed behind her back and wouldn't open.
Oh no!
Kaylin got trapped inside. There were 3 other doors leading to freedom, but there was a catch. Behind the first door, there was a huge pit that would take her miles underground. Behind the second door, there was a magnifying glass that concentrated sunlight and burned everybody and everything that entered. Behind the third door, there was a hungry and dangerous lion that would eat anybody and anything that entered.
Uh-oh.
How can Kaylin escape? Kaylin should wait until sunset. When the sun goes down, the second door with the magnifying glass won't be dangerous anymore. Amelia, Belle, Chloe, and Della are identical quadruplets who always prank people. One day, one of the girls' teachers had to let Amelia leave the class early. She had a doctor's appointment, but the woman wasn't sure which girl was Amelia. The quadruplets had decided to help her. Here is what they said. Amelia is one of the girls standing in the middle. No, Amelia is one of the girls standing on the sides. I'm Amelia. I'm not Amelia. 3 girls lied and 1 told the truth. Who is Amelia? If Amelia is the first girl, then 2 girls told the truth, the second and the fourth ones. If Amelia is the second girl, then the first and the fourth girls told the truth. If Amelia is the third girl, then the first and the third ones told the truth. But if Amelia is the fourth girl, then only the second girl told the truth. So, Amelia must be the fourth girl. Esme was having a walk in the forest and got lost. She found a witch's house, petted her black cat, and asked the witch to send her home. The witch wanted to play a game. If Esme won, she'd send her home. But if Esme lost, she'd have to stay with the witch forever.
We'll be saying numbers between 1 and 10. The next player will have to choose a number that's between 1 to 10 greater than the previous one. The first person to say 50 wins. You can start.
How can Esme win? If she wants to say 50, she needs the witch to say a number between 40 and 49. So, before 50, she has to say 39. If she wants to say 39, the witch has to say a number between 29 and 38. So, Esme has to say 28, and before that, 17, and before that, 6. So Esme must start with 6 and then say 17, 28, 39, and 50. Cassidy woke up in a dungeon and couldn't remember what happened to her. She needed to get out, but the door was locked and required a password. Can you guess what the password is? Every next number is made by moving the last digit of the previous 4 to the front. So, the password must be 4728. Mrs. Davies is an elderly lady telling a story of her life.
After I lived 1/4 of my life, I got my first car. I married 1/12 of my life later. 1/6 of my life later, I started a business. 1/4 of my life later, I got my first granddaughter. She just turned 18.
How old is Mrs. Davies? Let's say Mrs. Davies is X years old. 1/4 of her life, till she gets her first car, X is 4. Then we add 12 till her marriage. X till opening her business, 4 till the birth of her granddaughter, and finally 18 years from then till now. It should all be equal to X. If you solve this equation, you'll figure out that X is equal to 72. So, Mrs. Davies must be 72 years old. Esme was walking in the forest, and you know what? She didn't get lost this time. She knew how to get home, but the other road led to the witch's house, and the girl recently came up with a cool riddle for the witch. So, Esme decided to pay her a visit. She offered a deal. If the witch couldn't solve her riddle, Esme would get her cat. The witch agreed, and Esme gave her a square piece of paper, 4 inches by 4 inches, with a total area of 16 square inches. Turn it into a square with a total area of 8 square inches without a ruler. How can the witch do it? The witch should fold the 4 corners of the square towards the middle. This way, she'll get a square that is exactly twice as small as the original one. Apparently, the witch gets to keep her cat this time. There's a box filled with balls of different colors, 5 red ones, 8 blue ones, and 11 purple ones. Allison has a tricky task. Blindfolded, she has to keep picking up balls until she's sure that she has balls of at least 2 different colors. What's the minimum number of balls she should pull out of the box? In the worst-case scenario, Allison will be picking up balls of the same color until there are no more of them left in the box. The majority of balls are purple, so if she picks up a purple ball every single time, it'll be 11 balls. And only after that will she get a ball of a different color, so she should pick up 12 balls.